Part 1. I found a hidden room in my rented apartment. What was inside still haunts me. Hi Reddit. I've never posted anything this long before, but I need to get this out. Maybe it'll help me make sense of everything, or at least sleep through the night again. Let me start by saying, I'm not a superstitious person. I don't believe in ghosts, demons, or anything like that. I'm a software developer, pretty grounded in logic, and until recently my life was perfectly boring. Wake up, code, doom scroll Reddit, sleep, repeat. This happened a little over 2 months ago when I moved into a new apartment. The apartment? So I had just broken up with my long-term girlfriend. That's not the spooky part. It just explains why I was suddenly looking for a one-bedroom apartment on short notice in a new city. I found a surprisingly affordable place in a decent part of town, a 3-story converted brownstone that had been chopped into 4 units. Mine was Unit 2B. It was older, creaky floors and all, but the vibe was charming. Brick walls, tall windows, that kind of thing. The landlord, a guy named Vic in his 60s, was one of those ex-hippie types who talks like every sentence is a secret. You know the kind? Anyway, everything seemed fine. A little dusty, maybe, but it had character. And I was ready for a fresh start. The noise. The first week went by quietly, which in city terms means perfect. I set up my desk in the corner, mounted my TV, and basically settled into a loop of work and too much DoorDash. Then I started hearing the noise. At first, I thought it was just the building settling, or maybe someone upstairs being weirdly consistent with their creaky floorboards. But it wasn't footsteps. It was scratching. Light at first. Like someone dragging fingernails across wood. But it would go on for long stretches, 15, 20 minutes, and always late at night, around 2 to 3 a.m. One night, I got fed up and banged on the wall. It stopped. I felt a little proud of myself, not gonna lie. Like I'd scared off a raccoon or something. But 5 minutes later, it started again. This time, closer. The discovery. Fast forward a few days. It was Saturday, and I had the day off. I finally decided to deep clean the apartment, especially the weird closet next to the bathroom. It was one of those narrow utility closets you expect to be full of wires and insulation. But when I opened it, it was deeper than it looked. Like much deeper. I pulled out the broom and an old vacuum someone left behind and noticed something weird about the back panel. It wasn't wood like the rest of the closet. It was drywall, but poorly painted over. A little newer too. I pushed on it. It gave way. Behind it was a small opening, just big enough to crawl through. My brain screamed nope, but you know how it is. Curiosity is a drug. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and crouched down. The room. Reddit, I swear to God, it was a whole damn room. Tiny, maybe 6 by 8 feet, but a room. Concrete floor, unfinished walls, a single dangling light bulb that didn't work. No windows. The air smelled stale, like mildew and something else I couldn't place. But the weirdest thing? There were drawings on the walls. Hundreds of them. Black marker or charcoal. Scratches, spirals, weird humanoid figures with no eyes. Some had symbols around them, things I didn't recognize. I should have taken more pictures, but I only managed one before I heard something behind me. A soft thump. I turned, heart in my throat. Nothing. Except the closet door was closed. I crawled back out fast. Faster than I should have been able to. My knees were raw by the time I hit the hallway. The door hadn't just swung shut, it was latched. From the outside. I live alone. The burn journal. I emailed Vic, the landlord, and casually asked about any renovations or weird hidden storage spaces. His reply was odd. Huh? Didn't think anyone would find that so soon. Best to keep it closed. Some things don't like being looked at. No explanation. No emoji. Just that. I didn't sleep much that night. The next day, I went back into the crawl space. I know. Classic horror movie mistake. But this time I brought a knife, a headlamp, and my buddy Matt on FaceTime. I found a tin box in the corner, half buried under dust, and what looked like shredded fabric. Inside was a burned journal. Half the pages were gone, but the ones left were disturbing. They were dated between 1996 to 1997. The writer never used names, just initials, but the entries were panicked, fragmented. Stuff like, "He's scratching again. Always when I close my eyes. Tried salt. Didn't work. Tried iron. That made it worse. It's not a ghost. Ghosts don't breathe." And the final entry, "I saw its face. Not again. Never again. I sealed it in. Please, don't open." The black stain. The night after I found the journal, the scratching came back. Only this time it wasn't in the wall. It was inside my apartment. I checked everything, windows, doors, vents. Nothing. But in the morning, I found something that nearly made me puke. A black handprint, smudged across my kitchen floor. Palm down, fingers too long, ending in sharp points. Like claws. I cleaned it immediately, then poured a full line of salt across the closet entrance. I'm not religious or spiritual or anything, but the journal had mentioned salt, so desperate people do desperate things. I also slept with the lights on for the first time since I was 12. The tenant before me. I decided to look into the unit's history. Turns out the guy before me, let's call him D, was evicted after neighbors complained about constant screaming and paranoid behavior. I tracked down one of the old tenants on Facebook. She didn't want to talk at first, but eventually messaged me this. "He said something lived in the walls. Something that mimics you. We all thought he was just cracked out. But I did hear it too. Once. It sounded like me, calling from inside his apartment." I haven't told anyone this in real life. Not even Matt. But 2 nights ago, I was brushing my teeth when I heard it. From the hallway. My own voice. Whispering, "Come back inside." I ran. Slept in my car. Haven't been back. I'm not done. There's more. So much more. But this is already long, and I need to sort through some things before I post again. I'm scared Reddit. Not like, "Oh, spooky ghost story lol." Scared. I mean viscerally, existentially scared. I don't think I was supposed to find that room. And I think something followed me out. Edit, I'll post part 2 soon. I need to charge my phone and check in with someone. If you've heard of anything similar, anything, please let me know. Also, here's the one photo I took of the wall before I bailed. I don't know what the symbols mean. Maybe someone here does. Part 2, what I found in the hidden room wasn't just scary, it was alive. Okay. So, quick update before I dive in. Yes, I went back. Yes, I know how stupid that sounds. And yes, things have gotten way worse. Let me start from where I left off. After that night, the one where I heard my own voice calling from the hallway, I stayed in my car. I didn't even lock up the apartment. Just left. At 3:12 a.m. I drove around aimlessly for an hour, blasting music and chugging gas station coffee like it was holy water. Eventually, I parked outside a Walmart and tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw that handprint, or heard my voice whispering from the dark. I called Matt the next morning. I told him everything. To his credit, he didn't laugh. "Dude, I'm coming over," he said. You're either going insane or your apartment is haunted. Either way, I'm not letting you deal with it alone. Return to Unit 2B. Matt showed up around noon with an overnight bag, a baseball bat, and 3 energy drinks. Legend. We walked up together. The door was still slightly open from the night before, which felt like a horror movie red flag. I let Matt go in first, because I'm a great friend. Inside, everything looked the same at first, until Matt said, "Dude, what's that smell?" It was like iron and wet wood, almost metallic, and stronger near the closet. The salt line I'd laid down? Disturbed, scattered, like something had crawled through it. The crawl space again. Matt insisted we go back in. I told him about the drawings, the journal, everything. He thought maybe there was some old squatter hideout, or the landlord had a shady past. Logical explanations. We put on gloves and crawled in, this time with better lights. The smell was worse inside. And something had changed. Some of the drawings had been smudged. Not all of them, just the faces. The eyes were scratched out, or replaced with open circles. Worse, there was something new on the far wall, a rectangle drawn in chalk, maybe 3 feet high. Inside it, someone had written in jagged block letters, "Let me out." I swear to you, it wasn't there before. Matt turned pale. "That's not art, man. That's a message." The second door. Then Matt saw it, a hatch. It was embedded in the floor, tucked under a rotted welcome mat, seriously, and sealed shut with rusted screws. We had to pry it open with a crowbar Matt grabbed from his trunk. Inside was a narrow set of concrete stairs. I wanted to nope out right then. But Matt? He looked excited. "There could be something valuable down there, man. Like old records. Or cash." No idea how his brain jumped to treasure hunting, but I followed him down. The air got colder. The stairs creaked like bones. The light dimmed. And at the bottom was another room. Not a crawl space, an actual room. 6 by 10 feet. No windows. Black walls. 1 chair. 1 bulb. 1 mirror. The mirror wasn't dusty. It was clean. Like someone had been standing there, watching. Matt looked into it, then paused. "Why does it look like there's someone behind me?" I looked too. There was nothing behind him. But in the reflection, a shape. Tall. Thin. No face. We ran. The following week. Matt refused to talk about what he saw. He stayed over one night, but left in the morning looking worse than I'd ever seen him. "Whatever's in that place, man, it's not just hiding. It's watching." I started noticing small changes. My bedroom closet door would be open when I woke up. The light above my stove would flicker, always at 3:07 a.m. I found another smudge near my bed. Same black stain. Same clawed shape. Then came the whispers. Not just mine. This time it was Matt's voice saying, "You saw it too." I called him. He hadn't said anything. I tried to leave. I packed a bag and drove to a hotel. But my keycard stopped working twice. The receptionist couldn't find my booking, even though I had a confirmation email. When I finally got into my room, I found something that made me freeze. On the mirror, written in steam even though I hadn't showered, "This isn't over." I left immediately, but my car wouldn't start. It took 30 minutes and a jump from a stranger before I got it moving. I went back to the apartment. I don't even know why. The tape. Back in the crawl space, I searched the room more carefully. Found a panel in the floorboards. Inside was an old cassette tape, labeled "Play Alone," in Sharpie. I borrowed a player from a thrift store and waited until midnight. The recording is, I don't even know how to describe it. Whispers, static, and then a voice, My voice, saying things I've never said. You let it out? You can't leave. You brought it upstairs. I dropped the tape and ran outside, barefoot, into the rain. When I looked up at my window, someone was standing there. Tall. Thin. Watching. I think I'm being followed. Since that night, weird things have been happening outside the apartment. A man in a gray hoodie followed me into a bookstore, but vanished before I could confront him. My boss says I called in sick 3 times when I didn't. My phone has voicemails I didn't listen to, all silent except for faint breathing. And last night, Matt went missing. His sister texted me saying he hadn't shown up for work, hadn't answered his phone. I drove to his place. The door was ajar. And inside, his TV was on, frozen on a paused frame. It showed my apartment. From the inside, I'm not alone anymore. Reddit, I don't know how to end this part. I don't know what's real anymore. I'm going back in. One more time. There's something in that mirror. Something in that second room I didn't see before. I'll post part 3 if I make it out. If not, don't let anyone rent Unit 2B. And don't open the hatch. Part 3, I went back into the hidden room, and I didn't come back alone. This is going to sound crazy. Hell, I wouldn't believe me if I were you. But I have to write this down. I have to get it out of my head. I went back. And I didn't come back alone. The third visit. I don't remember walking back into the apartment. One minute I was in my car, staring up at that dark window. The next, I was standing in the crawl space again. The mirror room. Only, the mirror was different this time. Cracked. A web of fractures ran through it, but my reflection was intact. Then it blinked. I didn't. It did. I stumbled back and hit the chair behind me. That same old wooden thing. I don't know why I sat in it, but I did. And the light flickered on. Then the door slammed shut behind me. Inside the reflection. This next part. I swear I'm telling the truth. I saw myself in the mirror. But it wasn't just a reflection, it was another me. Same hoodie, same jeans, but his eyes were all wrong. Too wide. Like they were stretching across his face. He smiled. Then he raised his hand and pointed behind me. I turned slowly. Nothing there. When I looked back, the mirror was empty. But the chair across from me wasn't. It looked like Matt. It sat just like him. Same hoodie. Same stupid sneakers with the loose laces. Matt? I whispered. No answer. I got closer. Reached out. Then it turned its head, completely backwards. No sound. Just that awful crackle of bone. Its face was Matt's, but wrong. Like someone had drawn him from memory and gotten it almost right. It opened its mouth and said, "You invited us." Not me. Us. I ran. I slammed against the hatch door, clawing at it, screaming. The stairs behind me stretched longer and longer, like the hallway from a nightmare. Then a hand grabbed my ankle. Back in the apartment. I woke up in my bed. I don't know how I got there. My clothes were damp, like I'd been outside. Mud on my socks. My phone said it was 3 days later. 3 days. There were missed calls from Matt's sister. From work. From a number I didn't recognize. +1 000 000 0000. No voicemails. I opened the closet. Nothing. Then I saw the mirror. It was leaning against the wall. The one from the crawl space. No cracks. Just one message written in what looked like grease. "You're the door now." The voices won't stop. I'm hearing things constantly now. Matt, whispering from my kitchen. My own voice humming songs I've never heard. That thing from the mirror saying, "Let me wear you again." My reflection doesn't always sync with me anymore. Sometimes I smile when I'm crying. Sometimes I blink twice, and it doesn't. Last night, I stared into the mirror and said out loud, "I'm not afraid of you." It responded, "You should be." I didn't say anything after that. I just turned it to face the wall. In the morning, it was facing me again. Matt came back. Kind of. I got a knock at the door around midnight. I shouldn't have answered it. I know that. But it was Matt's voice. "Dude, open up. It's freezing." He looked normal, tired, pale. But it was him. I let him in. He sat down on the couch and said, "They don't like that you left." I asked him who. He didn't answer, just looked at the mirror. Then he smiled, just like the reflection had. I blinked, and he was gone, like he'd never been there. The couch was still warm. I burned the mirror. I took it outside. I doused it in lighter fluid. I set it on fire. It screamed. Not like glass cracking. Not like burning wood. It screamed. Like a person. 100 voices all at once. My voice. Matt's voice. Voices I've never heard. And just before it cracked down the middle, I saw myself inside it, on fire, screaming for help. Then it shattered. And everything went silent. The building is changing. Now it's not just my apartment. Neighbors have started complaining about strange noises. Pets going missing. A woman from 2C said her husband came home acting different, like he was trying on his own skin. A kid from the 4th floor drew something on the laundry room wall in crayon. The mirror room. Perfectly. Every detail. They've never been in my place. How would they know? I don't know who I am anymore. I sleep, but not really. Sometimes, I wake up standing in the crawl space. Sometimes, I wake up watching myself sleep. Last night, I found a drawing on my pillow. It was me, but with hollow eyes. And no mouth. Underneath it, scrawled in messy handwriting. "It's your turn now." This will be my last post. I'm leaving tonight. Not just the apartment. Everything. I'm going somewhere off-grid. No phone. No mirrors. If you see a listing for Unit 2B, don't rent it. If you see your reflection blink when you don't, run. And if someone who looks just like you knocks on your door, don't let them in. Edit. If anything happens to me, check the crawl space. Under the chair. There's a second tape.